entering your 18th season, can you talk a little bit about, what is your motivation each year? What gets you back on the grind, and, bringing the passion to what has been a very, successful coaching career?
Yeah, I mean, I think it hasn't changed at all since I took the job, since I was a high school coach. I think just the opportunity to, you know, be part of, college basketball, be part of something that's exciting and intense and has so much competition involved, where you have to do so many things so well in order to just compete. I think that's probably what the driver is for me. I love Richmond. I grew up in Philadelphia, so I've known and been a fan of the Atlantic 10 almost since it started. And, I just love being here, working with our players, with our staff, with our school. It's just something that's so incredibly competitive, that you really have to just work so hard and be so cognizant of all these details and every facet of coaching, including recruiting and scheduling and motivating guys and all those things, that you need to be pretty motivated.
Yeah, no, for sure. And, obviously I want to focus on this year. Obviously you guys are coming off, a pretty special year in terms of, I know there are some ups and downs in terms of expectations during the season, but you guys got it right at the right time, winning the Atlantic 10 conference, winning a game in the NCAA tournament. Looking at this season, obviously you guys have lost a lot of key pieces. With that being said, you have a lot of fifth-year seniors coming back as well, which I think is a testament to you and the program. But what are you looking forward to in regards to this team? Putting last team where it is, the success, but looking forward to, what's to come.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate it. I think last year, this whole, the COVID regulations and everything that was put into place just had a unique impact on Richmond, from canceling the NCAA tournament in 2020. We had all these stoppages, and I think we had multiple guys spend over 40 days in isolation who weren't sick and everything, which has a significant impact on any person. Yeah. To the granting of the fifth year or the extra year for the players who are in college. And so many of those guys came back, which was really special and tremendous for us. But that has also impacted the classes behind them. So last year we had a freshman class of 4, 3 of those guys redshirted. We had 3 more players this year decide to use their bonus year and stay at Richmond, and I hope that's essentially what defines us in a way, that guys want to be here and love the school, love the program. So yeah, it changes significantly because it feels like we've had the same team for the last 4 years or so or longer. And now you have guys who have played a part on our teams, but because they were younger and came after that crew, not quite as recognizable. And so, but they're really good players and guys who have a good feel for the game, know how we want to play, know how competitive everything has to be. And I feel like we have a chance to have a good team. We were fortunate in the transfer portal and signed 3 guys who we really are high on. And each of those guys has multiple years, which was important to us. So that was significant, but the most significant thing was Matt Grace and Andre Gustafson and Connor Crabtree coming back. So I feel like we have a good team, and while the names aren't as recognizable as the last 2 or 3 years teams, I think we have a chance to be good.
Yeah. And, I know at this time of the year, you obviously still are assessing talent, but like you said, you have some experienced guys that have been in the system, that have been at Richmond. I personally looking at the team, I feel like you guys really have a lot of flexibility. You're going to be able to stretch the floor. I know you probably don't pay attention to pundits or predictions, but I agree with kind of not the expectation may not be there for Richmond from the outside, but I think you guys have a great, solid team. What for you do you think will be your calling card with this team? Like, what will you guys have to do to be successful this year?
Yeah, well, probably a couple of things. We shot the ball very poorly last year from 3-point range, and for I don't necessarily know the reasons exactly, but we didn't shoot the ball very well from 3-point land, and that's going to have to be something that improves. The game is so, even a team that doesn't take a ton of threes is taking more than a third of their shots from three. We've usually generally been in the high 30s, a low 40% of our shots from three. You have to shoot a pretty good percentage. And I think that'll be something that's important to us. And then I would say defensively, I feel like we have a chance to be a very good defensive team. Andre Gustafson's one of the best defenders in our conference, I believe. Matt Grace is a very good defender. I feel like our size and length, Tyler Burton, Isaiah Bigelow, Neil Reed, I feel like we'll have some good size, length, sense for the game that we could be a good defensive team. And I think those two areas probably, as much as anything, will determine how well we can play.
Definitely. And you had mentioned, Burton, obviously, he had a great year last year. He's gotten better every year. What do you look for? I mean, really, Andre, Matt, as well, as you mentioned, but them becoming more of a leader. I know they were leaders last year, but, obviously with Gilliard and several others that left the program, what are you looking for them to kind of continue to improve upon, or really to kind of establish as, leadership roles within Richmond?
Yeah. We again, it's interesting. Tyler, such a talented player and we feel like an NBA player, but he hasn't been the best player on a college team yet, or he hasn't, maybe he has been, but that hasn't been how the feel of the team has been. And I think, there are games where he's going to play great and we're going to win in a big way because of how great he is and how great he played. I think the true challenge is, can he make us and help us win games when he doesn't shoot well, or when he has foul trouble, or, kind of playing through a game that has a little bit more adversity. And I think the same for Andre and Matt. Matt Grace has been a really good player for us, but I think with the opportunity now that Grant Golden's gone, Nathan Keogh's gone, that he'll really have a chance to have a great year, statistically, as well as, how the coach feels about him. So, and Andre also, I think Andre has, he impacts the game in so many ways. And I think for him, it's not, we don't really do role players or define the roles or things like that. But I think for him to step up, be more assertive, aggressive, use his voice more, all those guys, I think, it's somewhat leadership, but it's also, impacting the game positively when you're not making shots, when it's not easy.
Yeah, no, definitely. And this is kind of a general question, outside of just the Richmond program. I look at the A10, I genuinely feel it's the best mid-major in college basketball. There's been some up and down years, but I look at some of the coaches that have been brought in and just the conference in general. I really think it's on the rise. I really think it has the potential in the next, whether it be this year or the next couple of years, to really be back to that 3 to 5 bid league. Can you speak at all just to kind of some of the new coaches, maybe not specifically, but just where the Atlantic 10 Conference is in college basketball, which again, I think is just a solid basketball conference.
Yeah, I would say, somebody had asked me last year about, because I had been here a long time and what has changed. And I would say the investment of each of the schools has been the most significant change that we've had. And so the coaches that you can attract, or that schools are attracting, the staffs that they're putting together, that takes resources and a commitment to basketball. So many teams have practice facilities, so many teams charter to every game. There have been updates on numerous gyms and arenas around the conference to set them on par with, higher ranked leagues. So the investment is really significant. It is a basketball conference, And the investment has really been significant, especially over, I'd say, like the last 5 to 7 years. So that to me has been the most significant things. And then part of that is attracting, name coaches, guys who are coming, from big programs, or they themselves have been at big programs. That's really, really impressive. And it speaks to their confidence in the league and what it can do, and the respect that the conference has nationwide.
Definitely. Well, listen, I really am looking forward to, this year for Richmond basketball. You're not being talked about as much, but I'm sure that's fine with you. But I genuinely think, you guys have an experienced, solid team, and I'm looking forward to what you guys are going to bring this year, and appreciate your service, not just to Richmond basketball, but to A10. I think it really is quite an accomplishment in this day and age, to have the many years kind of like sustained excellence that you have brought to Richmond. So I appreciate the time.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.